Where we are tonight is heavily invested in the tribunal. The agenda dominated there with the 3 cases that are transpiring tonight. The first to be heard was Toby Greene, who desperate to resuscitate his home and away season after being handed a 2-match ban. They split the difference here. I'm not sure that anyone's going to walk away satisfied. Toby Greene is guilty, but he won't serve 2. He'll just serve 1 week on the sidelines. How is this so? Tom Morris, our chief footy reporter here at Fox. Tom, tell us about it.
So this is a 2-part equation, Jared. Evening to you. The first part is on the subject of careless conduct. Now, the AFL argued it was inherently dangerous, it was poor technique, and there was not a football action. Now, clearly the Giants disagreed with that. They said it was instinctive and that Dangerfield slipped, which contributed to Toby Greene getting his elbow into Patrick Dangerfield's chin. On this matter, the jury agreed with the AFL. The action was careless. But the other debate related to the impact. Now, the AFL argued that because Dangerfield missed the rest of the game, he went to hospital, it should remain high impact. GWS asked that the tribunal distinguish between the head and the throat, and also noted that Dangerfield trained on Monday and he'll likely play this weekend as well. So on this matter, the jury agreed with the Giants and agreed to downgrade it from high impact to medium impact, which is why we end up at this 1-week suspension. Now, the jury statement, or the tribunal statement, reads that Toby Greene used a raised elbow in circumstances where there was a realistic probability there'd be high contact. And as for the high to medium grading, the jury took into account Geelong's revised medical report. Now, as you noted last night, Jared, on AFL 360, there was no reference to the Bailey Fritsch precedent that had been floated widely. They didn't even mention any incident with Bailey Fritsch and Tom Powell earlier in the year. And the wash-up is that Greene cannot play this week, but he'll be fine to play in round 23. Again, another bizarre night at the tribunal. All
right, Tom, stay put. We're going to come back to you from an Essendon perspective and we'll see how the Fremantle case goes. But, Jace, there are dual stories here for the Giants. The first is Toby Greene and the second is Josh Kelly. So the general manager of footy with the Giants is Jason McCartney. Jason, welcome to AFL 360.
Good evening, Jared. Good evening, Jason. How are you?
So nobody got what they wanted. How have you come away from the Toby Greene hearing?
Yeah, look, we're disappointed. We thought we had a really good case we put forward, and obviously come back, the difference has been split in what was handed down initially. So we'll consider the judgment, and obviously there's other angles which we'll discuss moving forward.
The case that you put together didn't include precedent, which had been broadly spoken about in the footy world. Why didn't you go down that path?
Well, with the guidelines of the tribunal and what you can show, and you can use examples of cases that are provided in the guidelines document and booklet. So you just haven't got necessarily the option to go in there and run reel off of cases have been before us during the year. So that wasn't necessarily an option for us. So we thought, like I said, we thought we had a strong case. Obviously, there's a fair bit of deliberation, and it landed with a verdict of 1 week, which, like I said, we'll consider our options moving forward with that.
Do you feel at all like Toby Greene's been singled out?
Oh, it's a good question. Look, I just think it's hard, and I don't want to get into specifics, but I suppose the careless nature, it's such a split second, I suppose, impact of the contact and the decision making around it. It's just so split second. So that's probably all I'll say on it, because we probably think there's a little bit still to play out with this.
No worries. All right, we'll take the hint there. The better news is the Josh Kelly commitments, Jason. So he's triggered the 8 years, and that makes him a Giant for life. Put us in behind this over the past couple of months, if you would.
Yeah, look, it was obviously something we're really excited to get that news earlier this afternoon around Josh extending, and we've got other players at Giants for life in Toby Greene and Stephen Coniglio, Lockie Whitfield, Nick Haynes. So it's great to have another one locked in on a long-term deal. So he initially signed a 2-year contract. We had an option in place, an agreement that was just between the club and obviously player and management, that at some stage during this season, Josh would either accept that or look to take up the option. He would have been a free agent. So it's been a unique, there's been some commentary around it. Obviously, it's been a unique 2 years for the industry, and the fact that we've found ourselves on the road again. I think it's 7 weeks tonight we've been away. So sometimes it is harder to make these big decisions when you're not in your normal environment. So look, it's taken some time, but I think it was worth the wait. That's for sure. There's no doubt about it.
Jason, we saw what happened up in Sydney with Buddy Franklin signing a 10-year deal there. You've got Josh Kelly, who turns 27 as he starts next season. Does it need to be an 8-year deal? From a club's perspective, would you look at perhaps something a couple of years shorter?
That's a great question, Jason. Look, it's something we're really comfortable with, and it's something I suppose probably for us and maybe a little bit Sydney, we're a bit unique in the market we're in, and with so much interstate talent on our list that our players are targeted most years when they come out of contract. So we're comfortable to go the longer term deals, and it does provide some flexibility. It's great to have players you're locked in, and you know what you're working around in your TPP scenarios then, because, like I said, there's 5 guys that are actually locked in there for a long period of time that you don't have to worry too much about.
You mentioned a number of those players that are going to be Giants for life. You've got a heap of young talent still coming through. Surely a deal like that makes the salary cap a little cramped?
No, not necessarily, Jace. Like this, and you've been involved at this level and what you can do, but it does. I just keep coming back to the point. It provides great certainty when you have these players in, because outside of that, they are just scenarios. When the players obviously are 2 or 3 year contracts, you're scenario planning what the contract might look like after that. So we have a portion of our list that's locked in and gives us certainty, and then we just work around that. But like to the first part of your question, we're really happy with some of the young talent that's coming through, and obviously a lot of that was on show last Friday night.
So how much of Josh's signature was the bellwether, the endorsement of, I guess, the next wave of the Giants, having been to a grand final and come back, and both prospects and the culture that you're trying to build?
Yeah, it was critical, Jared. Like it's a great endorsement for what we're doing and where we want to go around culture and what the future looks like. So to have Josh make that commitment, and obviously it was one that was consideration from Josh, and there's always interest, like I said, in our players. So he's weighing all that up. So like I said, it was quite exciting to get that call this afternoon as you're preparing for the tribunal.
What is it? What you get on the swings, you lose on the roundabouts, Jason? That's a mixed night. Good on you. Thanks for joining us.
No, thank you. Appreciate your time. Take care.
Good on you. Jason McCartney, with Toby Green suspended for a week and Josh Kelly locked in for 8 years.
It's a big deal.
It is. It's a huge... Well, that makes it the longest contract. Christian Petrarca had the 7. Josh Kelly gazumps him with 8.
It's a big commitment. I'm just saying it's a big commitment, Jared. A great player, and they'll be thrilled to have him tied for life to the Giants now.